What's up YouTube, Andre here guys, back with another video. Today guys we have Samsung's flagship device for 2018, the S9. We're going to take a closer look at what's new in terms of design, specs and any new features the handset presents. Now there is a lot to talk about in today's video, so let's get straight into it. We're going to start off with the design of the phone. Now there are a few design changes that are simply obvious with the S9 and some that are very subtle and not as noticeable unless you have the actual device in your hand. First thing you're likely to notice with this new device is the back. The fingerprint scanner is now placed underneath the camera and it all seems to be joined together by this little raised area around the fingerprint scanner and the camera itself. However, the S9 Plus features a dual lens setup with an identical layout. Now you can also see that the heart rate monitor and the flash has jumped over to the right hand side of the camera. Moving to the bottom of the phone, the speaker now has a new design and is displayed without the usual grille to cover it, which I think looks really cool. However guys, over time this area could fill up with dust, causing the speaker to be muffled. There are also quite a few subtle changes between the S8 and the S9. This year both the S9 and the S9 Plus are a little bit shorter, slightly wider and ever so slightly thicker. For instance, the S9 is 1.2mm shorter, 0.6mm wider and just 0.5mm thicker. And both the S9 and the S9 Plus weigh slightly more compared to last year. For instance, the S9 weighs 8 grams heavier compared to the S8. But in all honesty, all this is hardly noticeable unless you have the S9 and the S8 side by side, and even then it's very difficult to notice any differences. These subtle changes don't stop there guys. The top and the bottom bezels are now ever so slightly smaller. For instance, with the S9 Plus they have shaved 0.39mm off the top and about 1.01mm off the bottom. This year the side metal frame also has a matte finish to it, which I think makes the device look stunning and just gives it a refreshed look. Now comparing this to the S8 and the S8 Plus of last year, the side metal frame had a gloss finish. In addition, I have also noticed while holding the device in my hand, the metal frame has more of a presence, so it does seem like the metal edges are ever so slightly more pronounced compared to last year. Now let's move on to the specs guys. The S9 and the S9 Plus still have the same display size as last year, so 5.8 inch and a 6.2 inch display respectively. It still has that beautiful Super AMOLED display with an 18.5:9 screen ratio. However, this year the S9 is 100 nits brighter compared to the S8, which tops up at 600 nits. A brighter display makes it easier to see the phone outside in direct sunlight. What's also interesting is that there is a new darker filter on the display. So when the screen is off, it's very difficult to tell the difference between where the display ends and the bezels start, which I think looks phenomenal. Now in terms of processing power guys, they both feature the latest Snapdragon 845 processor, which is meant to give you 30% faster processing power and 30% faster graphics. As for the battery, Samsung have kept pretty much everything the same. On the S9 you get a 3000 mAh battery, whereas the S9 Plus houses a 3500 mAh battery. Now a lot of people will be happy to know that the S9 and the S9 Plus now have stereo speakers, a very similar setup to the iPhone. It uses the earpiece and the bottom speaker to give you a stereo sound experience. While personally listening to the phone, I have also noticed that the sound now has more of a bass to it, especially from that bottom speaker. The speakers are also tuned by AKG, and Samsung have partnered with Dolby to add to the overall immersive experience. Now in terms of memory, the S9 comes with 64GB of internal storage and 4GB of RAM. So not a lot of change there from last year with the S8. However, the S9 Plus now features 128GB of internal storage and 6GB of RAM. In addition, you have the option of expanding your memory with a micro SD card of up to 400GB guys, which is just insane. Now the camera is where things get interesting. The S9 comes with a 12MP camera on the back, dual apertures of f1.5 and f2.4, which is absolutely insane, and a 26mm lens. Now this dual apertures of f1.5 and f2.4 will allow you to take some incredible night shots guys, making things super clear and super sharp. The S9 however guys has a dual lens setup on the back. One of the lenses is identical to the S9, whereas the other lens is a 12MP f2.4 super wide lens. To put this in simple terms guys, the S9 Plus is capable of taking wide angle photos, and you can switch to the telephoto lens to take close-up pictures without sacrificing quality. Also, this dual lens setup will allow for some incredible blurred background effects. Now this is where things get even more interesting guys. With both devices, the S9 and the S9 Plus, you're able to record in super slow motion, 960 frames per second at 720. Now Sony was the first to do this last year with the XZ Premium. However, Samsung's software allows you to capture super slow motion videos a little bit easier. It has a really cool feature that after you press record, it will capture in super slow motion when it detects movement in that middle square. Now once you've captured these super slow motion videos, you can upload them to social media such as Facebook, or you can set them as your wallpaper, which look absolutely phenomenal guys. Speaking of the camera, Samsung have now introduced these crazy AR selfies. You can now scan your face and turn yourself into an emoji or into an augmented reality character. It actually works really well, and the response to your smile, your eyes, and even your eyebrow movement. These do work really well, but this is either going to be a gimmick that nobody uses or something that everybody's going to use and it's going to turn into a little bit of a hype. Amazing guys, overall I am very impressed with the S9. It seems that Samsung have taken an already great design, so the S8, and just perfected its flaws. For instance, a better position fingerprint scanner, dual speaker setup, a more powerful processor, a camera with dual aperture and a dual lens setup, and then completely added things to get us excited about things like the super slow motion with 960 frames per second and the AR emojis. Now I would love to know what you guys think of the S9 and the S9 Plus. Leave all your comments down below. And if you guys enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you really enjoyed this video, smash that subscribe button guys. I appreciate all your support. Thank you for watching and have a good day.